Okay, it's downstairs. They want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. Well, can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute.
Okay, did you guys call and report a vehicle stolen?
Yes, my mom did.
Okay, so there's been a vehicle stolen too?
No, this was my vehicle.
What vehicle was stolen?
It's a 98 Pontiac Sunfire.
Okay, I have deputies on the way to you right now for that. But now your 3-year-old daughter is missing. Kaylee Anthony.
Yes.
White female.
Anthony. Yes, white female.
3 years old, 8/9/2005 is her date of birth?
Yes.
And you last saw her a month ago?
31 days. From 31 days.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Who is that? Babysitter?
She's been my nanny for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid.
Okay. Can you give me the name of the nanny again? Like, spell it out for me?
Zenaida, Zenaida.
Last name?
Fernandez. - Gonzalez. I think the officers are here.
The officers are there?
Yes.
This case has been in the media for a long, long time. There are always things that you can find that you haven't seen before. So we decided to do something different, Elba. What do you think? This is going to be a 3-part series. Today, we're going to talk about the before the trial. Next week, we're going to talk about the trial. And the last one is going to be about the documentary she did. Casey Anthony, murder, innocent, or just losing the marbles. My name is Ibitz. How you doing? I'm a human behavior hacker. Some people have computers. I hack humans. Elba, happy birthday!
Thank you. Yeah, it's my birthday. So yeah, thank you. My name is Elba Uribe. I'm a human behavior hacker too, and I'm CEO of Latin America. And you know what? There's something that got my attention with all this case, and it's how the media, talking about manipulation, how the media get inside and manipulate your head with the things that I don't think that they can happen.
I cannot, you know what, from all the 3 shows that we're going to be doing, I want the trial.
The last one.
No, the trial. Actually, I like the trial because when people says, oh yeah, Jose Baez did a horrible job. No, he did an amazing job. When we talk with clients, it says the only thing you need is doubt. As soon as you get doubt, the soul, the guilt, the whatever you're gonna call them, jurors are not gonna be able to vote against. So he did an amazing job. Actually, he became a really good lawyer. So if you think lawyers or trial lawyers are only hired from the people who's innocent, you're wrong. The reason people ended up in jail is because they don't have a good lawyer and they don't have a good prep team. And she have the best. And the only thing they need to do is give a doubt. But again, I'm so excited about the second show. But that's the one we are specialized. But let's talk about the prep. We decide to do, you know what happened, you can Google it. But we decide to do a timeline. And on top of that, inform you what is felicide. Most people don't know that. And what are the numbers? And one of the things that were put in this case, even before we started the trial, and actually they interviewed the judge who was part of the trial, is what if Israel was a drowning? And the judge says that is the #1 cause of death of kids below the age of 4. The only difference here is nobody put duct tape on top of the mouth of the child and get rid of the body. But again, let's talk about how and what happened before Casey Anthony went to trial. Welcome to 3-part Casey Anthony. Crazy, innocent, or just lose the marble? My love, let's go to the show.
Let's go to it.
Profiling a customer is the challenge sales reps face every day. What if I tell you you can read anyone in 90 seconds? What if I tell you it can be done? Come to learn with us, Human Behavior Hacker School.
To understand and recap before to go to the prep and the timeline and the testimony, writing and verbal testimony of Casey Anthony, let's understand what is felicide. And when I talk to some people, says, yeah, Casey Anthony probably, or she was acquitted, maybe commit felicide. And people are like, what? What kind of fetish is that? What kind of sexual deviance? Like, no, felicide, the killing of one son and daughter. Maternal felicide is a person who kills their son and daughter, plural noun, felicides. So get your homework done. And when we're going to talk about the numbers, because we have a succession of parents who kills their parents who kill. We have some cases who have made it the news, but doesn't mean that we don't have other cases around. And Elba, know we were talking this week and says, okay, we're going to do a show special in January, and all the cases, the pre-investigation, the trial, and the after of the most famous cases. This is only in the 15 years. The one who have made it to the media. The most famous are Christopher Watts, Diane Duns, Susan Smith. Oh my God, Susan Smith is before the 15 years window. Scott Peterson and Casey Anthony. But all these 15 people in the last 15 years are known for killing their kids. And you're going to be surprised because you see a lot of female names, but let's go to the numbers. One thing is the perception. One thing is our emotional involvement. But as a profilers, we cannot go to our emotions. And in this case, I need to give it to you, Elba, because you have 2 kids that you love to death. I know that sometimes when your kids are sick, you can be 3 or 4 days working and taking care of them without sleeping.
Yes, and you know what? I get it. Sometimes we get like overload with all the things because you are not sleeping well, because you need to take care of them. You don't have time for you. You don't have time for anything just just for your kids. But it's crazy. And you know what? And we talked with Susan that this topic can be a sensitive topic to me because I have 2 daughters. But that's why I put like my feelings and my things and my opinions aside and talk about the facts, because I think that this is an important thing to know.
And facts and numbers are telling us, do you feel you are being manipulated? Believe me, everybody have done, everybody had been, and everybody will be. So we develop 3 areas. We have a challenge on manipulation. We have a short class called 7 Sins that come in next week, and we have the long class called the Manipulation Bible. But this class is basically an instructive in what is manipulation, the studies in the last 150 years, people who have been victimizers, psychologists, therapists, FBI, lawyers, everybody who can help you to understand the why, how, and when. That is going to class. The classes start on January 16th. Oh my God, less than a month. So if you want to know more, go to the link below, go to see the catalogs, because our classes are growing and growing as the week. We have web, words, emotions, and behavior. We have the Manipulation Bible, 7 Sins, face reading, profiling, sales intelligence. Like, holy cow, we are like 11 or 12 classes. Don't miss it. Go to the link below. Now, let's go to be accurate. And that's how you prep for a case. Casey Anthony case was like, oh, did the baby drown? Did the mother hit it? Did the grandfather hit it? Let's go to the numbers. And if you need to prep for a case, what you do is go to the number, again, to create doubt on the jury. What we're telling you now is what are the strategies that we have been working, the research we have been done. Don't shoot the messenger, only to let you know the people who lost a case is the one who doesn't have a good strategy, a good profiler, and a good lawyer. Not all the people who hire is going to be innocent. If you want to pretend to be a lawyer or you want to be a lawyer, there are a lot of cases and professions that you're going to do that you don't need to believe. You don't need to like the people you work with. Actually, I would say 90% of the people that we work with, we don't like them. We just do.
It's better.
We don't do.
It's better because you don't put your bias there.
Oh, because I like you when I say you're like, no, this is my job. That's the line that we cross between our job and what we need to get done.
Yes.
So 500 is the average number of kids killed by their parents every year. We see one, maximum 2 cases on the media. That doesn't mean it's not happening. So pay attention. The reasons what happened is adolescent parenthood, lack of sleep, lack of maturity to handle kids. So the reasons are so many. I have seen trials and I hear testimony of parents says, I didn't know what happened. I black out. I haven't slept in 2 weeks. And suddenly was punching the baby and the head of the baby get against the crib. They're sleep deprived. I don't have kids, but I was having for 2 years wrongly medicated and ended up having sleep deprivation. And, I ended up more than one time on the hospital, blackout. Lack of sleep is one of the worst torture used during Auschwitz, World War II, and is still using to get people to confess things that even though they don't believe. Most of the false confessions are coercions and lack of sleep and water and food. If they put you in a room for 24 hours where you don't know and your melatonin and your cycle doesn't work, believe me, lack of sleep can do. I'm not justifying. I'm saying get your data, get your numbers, because it's the only way you can understand what things happen. And
I think
educate.
it's not sorry.
No, tell me.
I think it's not a justification. It's just to know what are the facts, what are the data, because we can say, oh yeah, you kill your kids. Yeah, I know it is not a good thing to do. Okay, I get it.
But why?
Why? What are the things that are behind of it? So that's why we bring to you this topic, so you can know and you be aware of the things that are happening with this.
The thing happened. So again, we see, Elba, how many felicides we see a year? 1, 2, there are 500 a year only in the United States. We're not talking about nationwide. Why? We're talking about the United States. Now, 72% of the felicide victims are 6 or younger, 6 years or younger. Meaning 3/4 of the deaths are 6 years or younger, are the ages where they're more difficult to control.
That was my point now. Why? Because the kids under the age of 6, it's not the worst, but it's the more heavy part to parenting.
To your girls are under the 6, so they pass the mark?
No, now one is 7 and the other one is 5.
Yeah, I remember one of them was breastfeeding.
You remember them, and they were jumping and doing things, and they don't stop.
They still do. They still do.
Yes.
How many? I cannot tell you people how many times we need to cut, edit videos or recording. Like, Susan, I'm sorry. Like, honey, I know that you have the kids. Your husband is not around. You don't have the babysitter with you, and the kids around. Like, honey, I don't know how you do it. That is one reason I don't have kids.
Yeah, but I think that's the part, because the kids under that age, they tend to be more like hyperactive, and they have a lot of energy inside. So, and sometimes when we are working or doing things, we need to concentrate on a lot of things. And when they are like jumping and doing, and we're like, no, stop doing it. So you get crazy and you black out. And plus, you having a good sleep, for example, or you haven't eaten well, the things can turn like crazy.
And if you don't have any help, I cannot imagine. Again, nothing justified to hurt your kids. What only want to give you the aspect that was people says, oh, this person is that. No. This happened more often than you can believe it. Now, look at this number, because this is one of the biggest misconceptions people have.
Oh, yeah.
In felicide cases, moms are likely to be killers as that. But do you want to say, love?
Fathers, they are like ranking high in this.
Yep. Almost 15% higher than women.
Yes.
And the latest case was the couple that gave the press conference. And we're going to talk about why police ask you to do a press conference. Is the best way to catch the killer. Ask them to do a press conference. But we need to be...
what is the name? What?
Kayleigh. Scott Peterson, all of them did interview, but we need to be careful, and we're talking with a couple of lawyers, how much we can say about this strategy. And we haven't recorded the show next week, and we wait for this show to record because we were waiting for our lawyers. We don't sneeze in our team with our lawyer. We have an in-house lawyer. We have a lawyer who works with us 24/7 because we need to be really careful with the cases that we have been working. We work and we have on the roster in the near future. That's what we do behind scenes. There are a lot of things that we do that you guys don't know that we do. And this is the fun part for Elba, myself, and the rest of the team. That is heavy shit core what we do behind. So we need to be careful. But 50% more parents, fathers, kill their kids than mothers. You see, I'm sure most of you is like, what? Yeah, but a woman killing their kids make news better.
Yes.
Now, guess this, 90% of the victims were killed by biological children. I'm sorry, of the victims were the killers' biological children, meaning that people kill their own kids. No, the neighbor, no, the people across the street, no, somebody they don't know. 90% of these kids were killed by their parents or direct person related to the kids. Now, one of the theories that it was going around is that this little lovely girl drowned. Now, let me tell you something. These are the numbers, and places with hot weather and swimming pools are worse. Every year in the United States, and these are numbers on 2022, there are estimated 4,000 fatal unintentional drowning, that is the average of 11 drownings dead a day. 11 kids a day die because they're drowned in the swimming pools. 8,000 non-fatal drowning, that is the average of 22 non-fatal drownings per day. I hate swimming pools. I don't like swimming pools. In the United States, more children's ages 1 to 4 die from drowning than any other cause of death. From children's age 5 to 14, drowning is the second leading cause of unintentional injury death after motorcycle crashes. Are we clear? Drowning kill more kids the accident crash. And before we go to the show and analyze again, what we're giving to you is the opportunity not to be biased, the opportunity not to be misled. Everybody's pointing fingers, everybody is demonizing others, but you need to understand that these things happen every day. Again, 11 drownings a day. That is what the opposite counsel, the people who went against, I forgot, like the state, the DA office were presenting like, okay, if she drowned, why the mother never called? That is the difference. And the judge said even 10 years after the trial is either she gave her too much chloroform or the kid drowned on the swimming pool. And actually what Jose Baez did amazingly is put the doubt that the baby was trying to open the door all the time, jumping on the swimming pool and enjoying so much time with the grandparents on the swimming pool. So what if she was drowned?
Yes. And you know what? Another thing that I think he did really good, it's defining the terms that we'll use in the trial dictionary. So he put the things like, okay, this
Again,
is
we are going to the second show both because I'm so excited. Okay, help me to land the plane and not go to the second show because
no, and you know what? Just coming back to the things that we were talking, there's another thing. We tend to label things with so that's why we put, and don't misunderstand us, because it's okay. For me, it's not it's a topic that can be hard because I have two daughters and all the things. But you know what? We need to know the facts. We need to know what happened there and why. That's why we put everything here so you can get it, because we are not in one side or another.
No, we don't.
What real happened. And if something happened to you, you can know what to do.
We don't care. One of the reasons that people who does the job that we do, and people says that we don't have a heart. No, we do have a heart, but we don't get paid for having a heart. Not to be biased. That's the reason you need to present the numbers. You by the way, on the United States, you're innocent until you prove guilty. In another countries, you're guilty until you prove innocent. In United States law, except on the state of Alabama, whose Roman law is the only one who can come from Latin America and Europe, is Alabama. If I'm making a mistake, please correct me. Put in the comment below. You're innocent until proven guilty. And that's the reason we have trials and we have presented in front of the jury. Again, you don't need to agree or disagree. We're proving and showing you how you prep to the case. How are the elements that were collected to create doubt for the trial that is the one we're going to present in next week. Again, the trial presentation is going to be the juicy part, is going to be next week. But we are showing you the numbers and the things that you can use to create doubt. If I make you doubt, guess what? I have you. I just have an innocent client. Okay, let's go to the next one because this is going to be fun. I know it sounds horrible, but it's going to be fun. We understand.
We are going to enjoy it because we love to do this. So, yeah.
Yeah, we get excited with people who kind of like, are you guys right? No, we are so wrong, but that's the reason we love what we do. We love what we do, and what we do is we redid all our websites. This is the new one, and I love that the last week we did the polygraph and we had too much fun. We shouldn't have done a happy hour with that. Because that woman in Human Resource really, I was listening to the show like, why do you repeat that so many times? Because she really traumatized me. And you know what? We're doing great. So bye, girl. Susan Ibitz is the human equivalent of the polygraph machine. I didn't say it was somebody else. So you want to know what we do and how we do it, please go to, thank God I'm good at what I do. That's it. So go to our website, humanbehaviorlab.com. You can see our testimony, our lovely Atina Kasiskians on the web. Actually, I need to put the new website we updated. And you can go to Human Behavior Hacker School. You can see all the catalogs for all the classes we have. Again, up to date, because we record a new class this morning. So this is the second recording, and we have 3 or 4 editings to do for the rest of the day. We did another class with Richard Harris. So it's getting there. Go to humanbehaviorlab.com and just take a look. I'm tired. 4 a.m. up. Go to our website and see the catalog of all the classes. I love, and you choose this slide. Why?
Because it's okay. Let's go for the statement. Nobody in my family is on my side. That's all they care about right now. Finding Kaylee. Wait a minute. It's about you, or it's about finding Kaylee? What do you want here? So that's why, because let's be honest, when you have a child, when you have kids, and you don't look them for a while, you start looking for them and be like, okay, where are you? So you start feeling anxiety. But here, I choose this one because for me, we're like, okay, wait a minute. This is about you? This is about having your family from by your side? Or this is about finding Kaylee?
And one of the things that it's crazy, and for two dyslexic people, Kaylee, Casey, and Cindy. Cindy is the mom.
Cindy is the mom. Casey is the mother of Kaylee.
So Cindy is the grandmother, Casey is the mom, and Kaylee is the baby. So only to let you know, we are dyslexic. We put that out there. So if we confuse the name at any point, let us know. And again, we want your comments. Again, we are not in favor. We are not defending. We are not justifying. Absolutely. We're showing the data and how this case was built. This is the pre-trial. This is the information the lawyers were working with on both sides. That is the information they have, and that's why we analyze it. And that's the reason we did a timeline. Timeline is important when you're going to go to a trial because you can follow the step. When you have okay, I'm going to stop before we go on timeline because I love the time. To understand when you prepare for a case, why you need to do a timeline is because you need to gather information, videos, testimony, and people involved. When you have a timeline of what they did, even though there maybe is not a camera on the place they were, why you can have a surveillance camera. We need to remember this happened 14 years ago, so there weren't so many, but now you can have image from a cellular ring, like the camera on the front of the car. You can follow GPS. We have cases, and we have working cases when the people says, I wasn't there. And actually, they kind of release the father for guilty when they were looking on the website, on the computer. I will not going to say what, because how they release him for the tower. The tower of his cell phone was at work at the time that research was done. And one of the biggest mistake that the DA office did is to send a novice, a new forensic engineer to check on the computer. And they use an old system to check the timeline on the browser history. And he didn't check all the browser history. We do that. We have people all around the United States and outside the United States who can check whatever happened in your computer. They can go deep dark web to know what you have done it, triangulate the tower. So the reason lawyers and private investigators and police and DAs look for the timeline is what, Elba? What they looking for? They're building the case.
Yeah, they're building the case, and they're looking for where the places that you have been. So you have your, how do you say that in English? It's tu cuartada.
Oh my God.
Ah! You see?
Not the alimony. Oh my God. Okay. People.
So you can know where the people, where the person was.
Since the last time we have COVID, we have been having these like lagoons on the head. Alimony. I kept saying alimony. Alibi. Something like, oh my God. One of the things that happened with COVID people, for the ones who doesn't have it or didn't have or doesn't have this problem, is like the word is in your head, you listen inside your head, but when your head needs to tell your mouth to say it, you ended up saying something else, or you cannot say it. It's the most frustrating thing from having COVID, is like having these senior moments. And I don't think I'm old enough to have senior moments.
No, I have it too, so don't worry. But yeah, so they use it to verify the things that you said where you have been.
Yeah, and that I'm going to spend all show like...
Yes, okay. I know.
Do you check? I have my cell phone up, sir, so I don't get distracted. Well, no, it's not alimony.
Sorry, people, but I need to find the word.
It's not alimony. It's alibi. Okay, come on, look.
I'm going to look for it.
So, okay, we can say it in a few languages, but we don't. La coartada. Do you find it? Where it is? Okay, tell me. You killed me.
This is not.
Okay. We're going to move on. Alibi. You see, alibi, alimony is similar. Alibi. Probably. Alibi. We were thinking about the same word. We just pronounced it wrong. Again, this is not the first thing. The first radio today, we just record a complete class with 45 students live. So give us a break. It's a miracle that we are here. So that's the reason you need to triangle in the tower. You need to be doing the timeline. Timeline, I would says, I see winning and losing cases only for the PIs. PIs we call the private investigator, who follow and have witness to verify or confirm the timeline of everybody involved. Only some time for showing that lately you have Uber, you have Lyft, you have anything that can pinpoint, well, this person couldn't be there. Actually, people who have accused of murder and has falsely accused and has been released, it says, well, the person even was on the country where that crime happened. But again, how many people believe on false confession on the jury? 72.8, no?
72.8.
Yeah, because when I say 73, you could kick my butt. And like, no, Susan, it's not 73, 72.8. Straight eyebrows.
Go to the facts.
Go to the facts and data. Yeah, so I have too many of you today. So that's what I'm saying. Even though that the research, I would say, from all the things that you need to get on a trial, the timeline. And we have worked in the timeline and how explaining and how to show it in front of the jury. And if you do a great timeline, that's what can win you the case. Anything else, Elba, before we go to the timeline?
We need to go to this timeline.
I do not. That I just asking respect. Remember, HR says I need to be more respectful.
But HR doesn't know about us, so no.
Again, I'm gonna see the video, like I'm gonna see the show and says, "What the heck, Susan?" Again, time with the. Okay, I love you and I care. No, seriously, it's your birthday this week, so. Last week I couldn't because it's not, but this week is your birthday. So timeline's yours. Let me know when change the slides.
Okay, June 20 on 2008. The last day Kaylee's grandparents saw her alive. Casey and Lazaro were in Blockbuster. They take a shot of the video that Blockbuster had there, and they were seen there. And what happened here when Kaylee leaves? She said to her dad, I'm going to a mini vacations on Jacksonville. And they never see Kaylee again.
So let's be clear. Who's Lazaro? Or Lazaro? I don't know. Double C.
That's the boyfriend. That's the boyfriend.
At that point, who, by the way,
was the boyfriend. And okay, I know that I'm going like
on the case. I know we're gonna go to the case, even though we don't want to say it.
Yes. And he said something. I wouldn't hang out with a girl with a baby.
Apparently, he was trying to let her down easily because one of the investigators, that's okay, in these two shows, I count 75 hours of video and footage about Casey Anthony, and you have, I think, the same amount or more.
I think 65. I'm on the 65. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have kids, so I can watch more videos. That's it. The only difference. But until we do the second show. So the police, one of the investigators says he was trying to let her go slow and easy because he wanted to break up with her. So he says to Casey, I don't want to date someone who have a kid. And just happened that she was told that by Lazaro a couple of weeks before. Again, do not justify what she did. What we're saying is that timeline and collecting information was with Jose Baez utilized. Again, we're gonna make a mess. We're gonna mix all the shows anyway. That's what we use. At 22 years old, when abusive father who raped her, the brother came to the room too. She says the brother never raped her. Having a baby on the house, the only escape out, the boyfriend didn't. So they build doubt. Okay. Anything else, or you want me to go to the day 5?
Because if we keep here, I'm going to talk a lot. So, and I don't want to because I wanted to say a lot of things for our next show.
You know it's gonna happen again. Day 5.
So day 5, June 20th, Casey and Lazaro went to a hot body contest at the Fusion nightclub.
Anything else you want to add here?
No, let's go to the next one.
And for your serious face, this shit is hitting the fan here.
Now, this is our day 7. In June 27, Casey and Lazaro went shopping at the mall, and at the night, they were at the Fusion Club again. Where is Kaylee?
None.
No one knows. So
do you know that
go.
I remember I was in Seattle that week?
Really?
I'm not gonna tell you how I remember, but I was in Seattle that week working on a case. Working on. Okay, I cannot say I was working on, but I was.
No. We can go to the next slide. So you cannot say.
That was the first time that I spent some time in Seattle. I just remember. Okay, July 2.
July 2. She got a tattoo, Bella Vita. So I think you can pronounce it better because you know that.
Bella Vita. Bella Vita. Io sono italiano. Io parlo l'italiano. Io parlo portoghese. Io parlo l'espagnolo e parlo l'inglese.
Just Spanish and English in my side.
What I say is I speak Italian, English, Portuguese, and Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and English.
In English, yeah. So she got a tattoo. And there's one thing here. She made an appointment to have the tattoo. So it's like, okay.
How do you remember how many days before she did the tattoo, she get the appointment? You have the data. It is going to eat you if you don't have it. I think it was 5 days before. It was in June 28, but June 20 or June 27.
June
so
28.
Let's think about this. June 27, she was to the Fusion Club.
Mm-hmm.
We have an inconsistency in numbers. Anyway, right. June 27 to July 17 are not 10 days. Anyway, so I would say 5-6 days later, she had a tattoo, Bella Vita. Believe me, I have tattoos. I have ink in my body. I have a lot of ink in my body. And if you're going to go to a good artist, you need to get at least 3-4 months in advance.
Yes. And you know what? There's one thing here too. It's like after she said that she was looking for her baby with her own things and doing by her own. And she made a tattoo like Bella Vita, like, okay.
Yeah, we saw the documentary that she did, and like I know we are at the end of the year and we're trying to get one of the lawyers that we know to talk about why she shouldn't have done documentary. Thank God you did, Casey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're going to give us at least 2 more years of research doing because the BS you put on the video, the legal aspect and the doors you open, you're not aware. One of the reasons Jose Baez is not talking about the documentary and any of the interviews given in the last 2 weeks is why. Because he did a book, make a lot of money telling his perspective of the Casey Anthony case, and she's accusing Jose Baez, and Jose Baez, because he's a good lawyer, again, maybe you hate it because she acquitted her, but she's a good lawyer. He's retracting himself because he's preserving the client lawyer confidentiality clause. She's not, because she's breaking the rule doesn't mean that he's going to reply to himself. I hope he doesn't. I think he's a seasoned lawyer with a thick skin. This happened 14 years ago, and he didn't need her. He doesn't need her now to be one of the best trial lawyers that we have. And that is the reason he's not talking. And I don't think he's going to talk. I never worked with him. I wish I had, but I do know lawyers on the same PNA or better than Jose Baez. And I talk to them and it's like, Susan, you cannot talk. Jose Baez is doing what he needs to do. She is putting her foot on her mouth. Actually, she hanging herself with what she's doing on the documentary. Really? Tell me more. Anyway, she says that she did the tattoo because she want to flip the finger to her parents. That now she's having a Bella Vita. God, Jose Baez was amazing.
I know.
That was amazing. I wish we work on the DA side in this case. Anyway, July 3rd.
Cindy Anthony she went to Universal Studio Orlando to pick up Kaylee. Why? Because she haven't seen her. And when she called Casey, Casey said, no, don't worry, I'm not here. I'm still in Jacksonville.
It was Jacksonville or Tallahassee. She said first in Jacksonville, and after that she says she was in Tallahassee, like she was all over the place.
Yes. So it was like, because Cindy she was like
under the impression that Casey was still working in Orlando. Let's be clear. She was fired 2 years before, and we wanted to take note on these things when we went to the testimony, recording testimony, and writing testimony, because it's freaky. It's a long video. It's going to be a long show, so step with us.
Yeah, and you know what? There's another thing. She wasn't an event coordinator.
Well, she was when she was working in Orlando.
She was, how do you say that? A partial time, because she was part-time, and they call her when they need her, just when they had a lot of work, but not because she had a permanent
position
there.
And again, all the things that we are telling you are important when we go into what is her testimony. And again, has nothing to do with the timeline. That's the reason. Timeline, get your facts. No matter what you do, what is the position you are, get your facts. Day 19, July 4.
Casey went to a 4th of July party.
Any more data here, or go to the next?
No, because this is related to the case, because they interviewed two friends that she went with, and they said they didn't know that she has a daughter, and even though she was missing. So
yeah, nobody know, even the boyfriend. Cindy called 911. What else you want to add here?
She called 911 because when she started confronting Casey said that, like, after all, she said, like, you know what? Yeah, Kaylee is missing. I have been looking for her for 31 days. And it's like crazy. How do you can not do nothing if your daughter is missing for 31 days? So that's why Cindy get like stressed and hysteric and things, and she called the police.
You know, I'm containing myself. I lost one of my cats for 5-6 hours. I called the police, the fire department. I went in top of every tree. 5 hours. I think it was 4 or 5 hours. Anyway, so you saw the recording of the complete conversation in the beginning. Let's just play where Cindy called 911 here.
911, what's your emergency? I called a little bit ago. The deputy sheriff saying I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. Her mother finally admitted that she's been missing.
Holy cow.
Yes.
October 24, 2008.
Yeah. Yes. Now, what happened in October, after Kaylee's disappearance, she was pronounced dead. And that's when Casey were charged with first-degree murder. Because they have been looking for her, but they didn't find the body yet. But we know that
in United States, so she was pronounced dead, but the truth to be told, they didn't find the body.
No.
Let me tell you what one of the most brilliant part of the case. And I know, I'm sorry, Elba. I told you to stop me. You know what was she was charged with first-degree murder. In United States, nobody, no case.
No case.
Nobody, no case.
It's the same.
And second of all, do you know that on the post-interview with the jury, what most of the female jury says why they don't find her guilty?
Tell me.
I know. I have internal information, and I'm sorry, Elba and I will share all the information. I just remember. Don't kill me. I just remember. I'm sorry. I just get this info last night. Guess what? Because they couldn't prove how Kaylee, I knew that the reason I take it, how Kaylee died. I don't know if I share with you that.
No, that one, no.
I'm sorry, Mama. The reason female jurors couldn't find Casey guilty is because the prosecutor couldn't prove
how she died. And that's true. And you know what? It's crazy because we had here in Guatemala.
Doubt again.
And even in our countries of Latin America, we had a lot of femicides. And we have a big case. Here was a big case, but guess what? The husband was accused to kill his wife, but they never found the body. No, they never found the body here. No one knows what happened.
Nobody, no case.
No, and that's what they said. They charge him for another charge, but not for killing his wife, because there wasn't a body here.
Well, case is about to maybe fill in the same medicine. We cannot talk more about on TM. If we can talk, and if we find the lawyer to can talk about that, we have special lawyers who can talk about that. So yeah, nobody, no crime. And actually, one of the most prolific serial killers in the Midwest was Kelly Cochran. By the way, Elva and I, we have the chance to talk with the person who made Kelly Cochran confess. Actually, he was one of my students in one of my classes. I adore him. Chief, sir, like always, lovely to serve with you. And you don't have, I think my friend from Denmark is the only one who have pictures with him.
See?
Yeah. You didn't take pictures with Chief Ogden, no? No. Well, one of the reasons is she ate her victims. So it was really, they found the bones, but they couldn't prove the murder either. She ended up confessing after Chief Ogden did an amazing job making her confess, but the truth to be told, she ate the bodies. So nobody, no crime. And I'm sure we're going to be called in some case, like when somebody saw on your show, they make disappear the body. So maybe we should erase this. I don't know. Anyway, we can find it outside. So next, now, but what happened after October 24 and December 11? What they found?
They found the skeleton remains of Kaylee.
And again, I'm sorry, but I saw so many videos this weekend. I don't know if we see the same one. At one point, the defense team from Casey says, well, Casey is not guilty. Let's talk about, there is a theory when a spouse is murdered or disappeared, the first suspect is the other spouse or the one who called and says. In another cases, when somebody found a body or found something related to the case and they want to embed themselves on the case, they become suspect too, because they have this fantasy to be FBI and detective X and Y. At one point, the defense says, how the body has been buried for months and nobody found it, and suddenly this guy found it. Actually, he testified in court because he was subpoenaed to testify, but everybody who have tried to have him do an interview, what he says, how much money he wanted. Remember, we saw the same show.
Yeah, I saw it. I was watching last night too.
$1 million for an interview.
1 million, you see? 1 million, see?
Like, dude, really? We know that he want to embed himself on the case. And now, 15 years after the case, he still won $1 million for a 5-minute interview. Come on. The guy's too stupid to be so good plan. But anyway, those are the kind of doubts that were implanted on the previews based on the timeline. What else?
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of theories why they didn't see it, why they put it there. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think it's there. So it's crazy how this happened and how they found it. And I in the same video that you were talking, they did an experiment there. And they put something like the same size and weight and things.
People understand, because you and I, we have, and one of the things you and I, we have both. And I have people call me like, Susan, you and Elva know so much about the case that you're talking to us or to us, like we understand. So this was in the middle of nowhere, a couple of miles away from the Anthony's house. So what they did later is a kind of private investigator and journalist investigator went to the same place to determine if it was possible or not to see in that area that the body had been missing and buried there for months. Or the second theory, the Casey Anthony have Kaylee on the trunk because there were cadaver dogs and people who smell like a body, and people who knows that. Actually, it's one of the few things the AI and computers are not as good as humans at cadaver dog to smell body decomposition. But they did experiment, and what happened, Elba?
You cannot see it from there. Even though in this time that, because they did it 10 years later, after something like that, was 8 or 10 years.
10 or 12 years later, some private investigators and investigator journalists went back to see if they can see it.
Oh, but and the woods and everything was like really, they were caught and things, but in that time, the how do you say maleza?
The bushes were bigger and taller and more impossible to be identified.
Yes. So no, they cannot see the body there.
Again, we're going on the clue. Actually, next week, probably we're going to do with the whiteboard. We're not going to use the green screen. You see the screen moving? We're not going to use green screen because we're going to use whiteboards, and we're going to pull whiteboards and tell you how many things we got going until now to make a doubt on the jurors, like 5 or 6?
6. With this one,
6.
Sometimes
you need only one thing the jurors can doubt about it. But good point about that they did the experiment years later. So you don't need to wait for years later to comment. Again, you don't need to like what we says. You don't need to agree. You just need to be respectful and like, yes or no, we agree or disagree what you're doing. Share it with others. This is an open conversation. We are not the show. We are part of the show because the other part of the show is you and with the comments. And most of those shows, the topic that we are presenting since we took a break in August are because you ask us. People ask us, hey, guys, everybody's talking about the same piece of information. Can you do something different with the show? And that's what we decide to do. How a trial happened, pre-trial, trial, and what happened with the documentary. And from the legal standpoint, on the behavioral standpoint, what are the opens that Casey Anthony opened it by open her mouth? And by the way, we found an exclusive interview by the dad 5 years ago saying, if Kaylee do a documentary and get what, I'm going to sue her.
Money.
You see, that one I sent it to you, the video. That was nice. So, like it or not like it, be respectful. Find Susan Ibitz, a human behavior lab. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. Oh my God, I cannot believe we are almost at the end of the year, Elba. But anyway. Come to participate with us. Come with us. We love to have you here. Send your friends. That's help the algorithm. Analyzing her statement. Okay. Let's see if the audio work. Oh my God, we are already 40 minutes on the show and we haven't started with analyzing statement. Okay, let's go for it. This is on the trial. The detective talking about the writing statement. We're going to stop for a second. There is a reason when you go to the police, they took different weights of the statements, but the one who holds in court the best is the one you need to write your statement. Now, before we go into a statement, I have a doubt and I haven't found any information who can take away my doubt. Did she wrote it or they dictated the statement? I don't know what is scaring me the most. I'm just going to say that. You, before we go into the statement?
I will say it's hard to know it. For me, I had the same impression because there's things in their words and that make me doubt because she's not in that level to know things. Let's be honest. She's 22 years old. The language she's using there.
And she wasn't well educated, sophisticated enough to use such a complex language.
Yes, but there are things that you just use when you work
or you have been wrongly coached, that you replicate the words. Let's put it this way. When you go to places like that, some of the people who coach you, and that's as much what we can say, the people who coach you are former police or former interrogators who tell you how to get away. But one of the problems with people who is not versatile in this is they're going to end up utilizing police language. And police language is another way that why her testimony was thrown to get a doubt. So I don't know if this wasn't prepared. We get evidence number 7 that was presented on the case and prepared on the case to get doubt to the jurors. Are you ready, my love?
Let's go for it. Yes. Sorry, people, but I like this part. It's like,
what is wrong with you? You're the mother. You're supposed to be the nice one. Anything else before we go in here?
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. God, this is the difficult part. Listen to all of the, again, why is not start? Here you go.
Detective Melich,
there are 5 minutes. There are 5 minutes. We're not going to interrupt. We're going to make some comments. If you want to hear again what happened here, we're going to come back after so you can hear the comments. Again, 5 minutes, 8 seconds. Pay attention to the detective reading the testimony of Casey Anthony. As soon as she was interrogated, she wasn't a suspect yet at the point where she was writing this testimony.
See the document in front of you?
I do.
Can you read to the jury Miss Anthony's statement?
On Monday, June 9th, 2008, between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., I, Casey Anthony, took my daughter, Kaylee Marie Anthony, to her nanny's apartment. Kaylee will be 3 years old on August 9, 2008. She was born on August 9, 2005. Kaylee is about 3 feet tall, white female, with shoulder-length light brown hair. She has dark hazel eyes, parentheses, brown/green, close parentheses, and a small birthmark on her left shoulder. On the day of her disappearance, Kaylee was wearing a pink shirt with jean shorts, white sneakers, and her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. On Monday, June 9, 2008, between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., I took Kaylee to the Sawgrass Apartments, located on Conway Road. Kaylee's nanny, Zenaida Fernandez-Gonzalez, has watched her for the past year and a half to 2 years. Zenaida is 25 years old and is from New York. She is roughly 5 foot 7 inches tall, 140 pounds. She has dark brown curly hair and brown eyes. Zenaida's birthday is in September. I met Zenaida through a mutual friend, Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. She has watched his son Zachary Hopkins for about 6 months to a year. I met Zenaida in 2004 around Christmas. On the date listed above, June 9, 2008, after dropping Kaylee off at Zenaida's apartment, I proceeded to head to my place of employment, Universal Studios Orlando. I have worked at Universal for over 4 years, since June of 2004. I left work around 5 p.m. and went back to the apartment to pick up my daughter. However, after reaching the apartment, I realized that neither Zenaida, Kaylee, or either of her 2 roommates were home. I have briefly met Raquel Farrell and Jennifer Rosa on various occasions. After calling Zenaida to see where she and Kaylee were and when they were coming home, I waited outside of the apartment. I had called Zenaida earlier that morning prior to bringing Kaylee over for the afternoon. When I called her that afternoon, her phone was no longer in service. 2 hours passed, and around 7 p.m., I left the apartment and headed to familiar places that Zenaida would go with Kaylee. One of Kaylee's favorite places is J. Blanchard Park. I spent the rest of that evening pacing and worrying at one of the few places I felt, quote, at home, unquote, my boyfriend Anthony Lazzaro's apartment. For the past 4 weeks, since Kaylee's disappearance, I have stayed at Anthony's apartment in Sutton Place. I have spent every day since Monday, June 9, 2008, looking for my daughter. I have lied and stolen from my friends and family to do whatever I could by any means to find my daughter. I avoided calling the police or even notifying my own family out of fear. I have been and still am afraid of what has or may happen to Kaylee. I have not had any contact with Zenaida since Thursday, June 12, 2008. I received a quick call from Zenaida. Not once have I been able to ask her for my daughter or gain any information on where I can find her. Every day I have gone to malls, parks, any place I could remember Zenaida taking Kaylee. I have gone out and tried to find any information about Kaylee or Zenaida, whether by going to a popular bar or restaurant. I have contacted Jeff Hopkins on several occasions to see if he had heard from or seen Zenaida. Jeff currently lives in Jacksonville, Florida. On Tuesday, July 15, 2008, around 12 p.m., I received a phone call from my daughter, Kaylee. Today was the first day I have heard her voice in over 4 weeks. I'm afraid of what Kaylee is going through. After 31 days, I know that the only thing that matters is getting my daughter back. With many and all attempts to contact Zenaida, and within the one short conversation on June 12, 2008, I was never able to check on the status or well-being of my daughter. Zenaida never made an attempt to explain why Kaylee is no longer in Orlando, or if she is ever going to bring her home.
This happened July 16. The baby disappeared on June 8. I sent this video to a couple of people that we work in cases, like high-end interrogators. Guess nobody doubted about the testimony. It says, we know what happened. When we need to go for the analysis on the testimony, the description on the nanny is extended the description on the daughter. The description on the nanny, the description on the person who introduced the nanny, the description and how she met the nanny, and the description of where she worked. None of those are true. Let's be clear. The only thing true is the kid is missing, but she know where she, supposedly she was acquitted. So we still can be penalized because she's acquitted. We cannot say she's guilty, and it's not our job. Let's go to the rules. The truth to be told, I need to analyze that on July 16, 2008, I don't see signs of deception except that evening. When you see when the police correct himself that evening, beside that, everybody who says that is a lie detector, a human lie detector, blah, 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 what the fuck, I don't care. Demonetized, I don't freaking care. Nobody's perfect. But let me tell you, everybody that I send these statements says, just please forget that we know, that we're supposed to know what happened. As an interrogator, as a trainer, as a coach, as a whatever, tell me if you find red flags. I didn't find anybody who can find a red flag. And everybody says, the only place you find people who can lie with certain, such a precision about a case like that are psychopaths or people who lose their marbles. Again, we are not therapists, we are not psychologists, we are not lawyers, so I want to be careful with this. People who's really good lying, and they even beat the polygraph, and they can beat any filter of interrogation, are psychopath. Why? Because when you believe your lies, that's the reason repetition make the master. That's when you lie. Elba?
Yeah, I don't see any too, because everything that she said, it's really well structured. And don't give you
freaky well structured.
Yes, and don't give you the to think like, oh, maybe there's something missing. She's not missing anything.
Actually, it's really colorful. Now, what beside the, okay, you review structure, you review vocabulary, you review colors. We call colors and how colorful and the baseline. You set the baseline talking with the person, and the language they use to describe event, we call it colors. So how colorful or dark or bright or playful is the person describing. She is 3 foot that she was born on. She must be like, that is policing wording. The words she used are extremely coached. Now, who coached for, so she disappeared on the 30th of the 8th. She was given this statement in July, but actually, since the mom caught her and unaware, she used the same language. Who prepped her to use that language? Because she's not well educated again. She haven't go to the police academy. She doesn't have any contact with anybody who's a lawyer. Nobody investigated. Nobody bring to the table the language she used. And another thing used against the DA office and the police was, that is a police language. This confession, or this testimony was a confession. She wasn't Miranda Wright. Miranda Wright is the right that you have. Everything you says, it can be used against you. You have the right to ask for a lawyer, to get a lawyer present. If you cannot pay for the lawyer, the district attorney need to provide you one. Not always good, but it's better bad than nothing. She never was Miranda because she never was under arrest. And the reason with Joe Bice, again, cross-examining the police, the first thing he did was destroy the credibility of the police because it's the only thing he can do. Like, well, you call, what he called himself, the police, oh my God, Sherlock Holmes of Florida. It was Sherlock Holmes of Florida, something like that. Well, apparently the dude made comments on the case, but it says, did you Miranda my client? Like, no, because she wasn't a suspect at the time. And we need to clarify everything that she says in this testimony because it was pristine. Actually, he says in a couple of interviews later, it says it was nothing to investigate. She gave us address, she gave us names, floors, time. When she says she described the nanny, Sunny the nanny, actually it says is Xanax. It's a short name, a nickname for Xanax. I hear that in a couple of places. No, my thing, I don't understand about drugs. So her name, the 2 last name, where she worked, where she lived, where she was born, who were the roommates.
You know what?
It's scary. It's scary. Know how detailed.
And try to close your eyes and remember how a policeman describe a person when it's dead or when it's a suspect. They say how the person weighs, and she say it. She is
approximate 35. I don't know how much I weigh.
Or when she talks about her daughter, a white female. Okay, wait a minute.
Okay, I'm gonna describe you my cat. Chubby, black, white whiskers, love it, like to scratch my back and snore in my ear. That is Ini. Una, she's fatter, needy, crazy, meow at 2 o'clock in the morning. She hates dogs. That's how I describe. How you describe me your daughters. You 3 words to describe each of your daughters.
Okay, Liz. Liz is intense. She's funny. And she likes a lot of, she likes to know everything. She loves knowledge.
And Renee?
Now, Renee, it's my crazy one.
That's the crazy one.
Yeah. Yes. It's the creative. And it's a more,
like
how
you?
do you say that? Yeah, she's more like me. She's like mommy. And Liz is like, okay, let's put it in this way. Renee, it's like mommy. And Liz is like daddy. So. Yeah. And
any point you says, I don't know what is the color of the hair. I don't know the size of the eyes. I don't know the height. I don't know how much they weigh. I do, and let's put this clear. You give an identification to try to be as precise as possible. So the person who is missing is found. I haven't found any of the parents who give description of their kids that has been missing for real the way the Casey Anthony did. Now, why she did it, I have 2 theories. To use on the case that it was coerced confession, coherence testimony. And second of all, that she's so detached of their daughter already that she doesn't see as a daughter or as a person. I don't know.
agree with you
I'm
with the
lost.
second one. I was thinking on the same. And for me, my theory is that one. She's so detached of Katie that.
You know what we haven't found? And I need to do mea culpa because I should have looked through. I don't know when Jose Baez took the case. And what part of this part Jose took the case. Because the trial was like 2 or 3 years later. When Jose took the case, and second of all, it was any lawyer advising the Anthony family when Casey went to the police station. Again, structural wise, I don't see deception. Now, policing language, it doesn't sound like a 22 years who just lost a daughter 31 days ago.
And you know what? You start remember things about your daughter, not talking about her physical descriptions. It's just, and you start pulling stories or things that happen with your daughter. So yeah, it's crazy.
She is this and this. Most parents who really lost their kids talk about their kids even years after in the present tense, not on the past.
Nope.
Okay, guys, you want to hear her voice so we can hear the tone, the Dickens. This is an 18 minutes video, and Elba and I says, okay, we can do a 3-hour show. Like, no. So we're gonna run the audio. Go for it. Elba and I, we're gonna interrupt the audio 5 or 6 times. It's impossible to analyze. But with the significance and the clue we already give you, police testimony, talking about the daughter and a distant language, talking about the daughter like she doesn't exist or exists, with the policing language. What else they need to be paying attention on this, Elba?
You need to pay attention. I think with that, okay, let's put it this way. The things that, for me, it's really important, it's how she talks about her daughter. For me, that's the first thing that I was like, okay, let's see, because I think that's a good point. Because we have been talking about it. When you have a missing child, you start talking about a lot of things. You remember things, what your kid did with you. Some things like really get to your nerves. And do you remember?
She says the places where Nanny and my daughter, I don't know how to phrase it, but I remember the context, like they used to go. They used to go? How do you know?
And you know what? There's another thing that you need to pay attention, because if you are, okay, in statement analysis, when you introduce a person, you put the name and the position that, you call it in that way, the position that the person has in your life, right? And first, she said the nanny. Who is the nanny? It's not a good interest. Then she said, okay, yeah, Zendaya is the name, right?
Sanaya.
The nanny. Now, you describe the nanny, the physical appearance and everything, where she lived and where she worked, but you don't describe the relationship that these two have.
That's like my daughter loved Sanaya. She
and
liked
they
the
were,
nanny.
you know what? And they were to this place because when she take care about Kaylee,
it's no emotional connection there.
No, they were to the park. They love to go to the mall, for example, or they eat in this restaurant or things like that. She never said that.
Nope.
So
no.
I know we are not an emotional person, because both we are not. But you know, when things happen like this, the first thing that comes up, it's your emotions, because it's your daughter.
That's what I'm saying is, okay, so people, let's do a timeout. I'm going to ask you 3 things before we listen to this, and Elba is going to do 3. If you have a pet, if you have a friend, you don't need to have kids to be emotionally connected to this story. Listen to this story like you lose somebody you care. Again, can be your pet or can be a human. no matter what is important to you. We are not criticizing. Just try to listen to someone who just lost and they don't know where it is. At this point, we're supposed not to know what it is. Someone will love. So listen about the tone of the voice, the language used, and the distant language. Elba, your 3 points for people to listen on the next 18 minutes audio.
Okay, I will start with the distant language because that's for me the point. I will say how she described everything, how she described the things that she's going to talk. And I will say the last part, it's the tone, but I will go more for how she react, how she controlled the emotions there. Because
what emotions? What emotions? She didn't have any.
So, yeah, that's
I'm sorry.
point.
I shouldn't have said it.
No, but that's true because I want to get there. What emotions? You have a missing child for 31 days. Believe me, in my case.
What is the fixation with 31? What is the fixation with 31 days? Did you see as a fixation? She keep repeating, fixating on that?
The 31 days, yes. Her and her mother. The two of them.
We're not going to do witchcraft, but something is happening with the 31 days. Okay, people, this is an 18-minute video. Let's go for it. Why it's not showing?
Detective Melich, you see the document in front of you.
Oh.
Detective.
July 16, 2008. The time right now is 04:11 hours. I'm Detective Melich with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Present here at...
Let's remember, there is a detective taking a statement of her. She's not under arrest at this point. I'm sorry, I don't know if I think it or I say it.
4937 Hope Spring Drive. I reference Orange County case number 08-069208. I am with Casey Anthony, is that correct?
Yes.
And Casey, would you please state your birthday for me?
03/19/1986.
Okay. Casey, you understand this is being recorded?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to that?
No.
All right. Casey, I got called here in my Sergeant Reggie Hosey with the Orange County Sheriff's Office in reference to a missing child. We sat here and talked for a short moment before we went on tape because I wanted to make sure that your sworn statement, which I'm looking at, was accurate. I'm looking at 4 pages of a sworn statement. On the bottom it appears to be your signature. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you're saying that everything contained in these statements are true and accurate?
Yes.
Also, before I turned on the recorder, I gave you a chance because I wanted to explain what happens if you make a false report or if there's something about this incident that you're not telling us the truth of. And I wanted to make sure I made it perfectly clear that, if you want to go ahead and rescind this statement, and if you want to tell me a different story about what happened, if you're trying to fabricate a story to kind of make something look a little bit better, now is your time to tell me. Are you telling me that this is the story you want to stick with?
It's the truth. It's the story I'm going to stick with.
Okay. In your own words, let's go back. Your daughter's name is Kaylee, C-A-Y.
Until here, I don't see any anomaly for all the interviews we have seen and all the police that we have trained related what the police is doing. He's going retracing the step. By the way, it was Dick Tracy Orlando, the nickname he used. This police, apparently he have a blog called Dick Tracy Orlando, and they use that to destroy it. So what you do in the media, people, is can come back. You can have a pristine interrogation, but you have a good lawyer, you're done. I see by the book. Yeah, I don't see any tone, any change on difference on the tone of her voice. No. Neither him. Actually, I see more emotions on his voice than hers. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
L-E-E?
Yes.
Marie Anthony. She was born August 9th.
2005.
Okay. And according to your statement back on August 9th, back on June 9th, 2008, you took Casey to a babysitter's house.
Yes.
And who was this babysitter?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez.
Do you know how to spell the first name?
Zenaida.
And where was Zenaida's? Where did you drop your child off?
The Sawgrass Apartments on Conway, Michigan.
Do you remember the address?
I don't remember the address.
Do you remember an apartment number?
210.
Okay.
It's on the second floor.
If you were to pull into the Sawgrass Apartments, would the building be the one closest to the road, furthest back, halfway?
As soon as you go straight, you go over one speed bump, and it's the first one on the right-hand side.
Okay, is there a pool next to it, or is there anything about the apartment that stands out?
There's a welcome sign. It's,
Why are you laughing? You distract me.
Yeah, because
The speed bump. She even described the speed bump.
yes, that's my point. She
Oh,
described
you pick up on the same?
Yes, it's like, why the door? Where's located? The beep bong is like, okay.
Okay, people pay attention because there's so much going on. Again, we can do a month show only with this 18 minutes. So we're gonna let you hear, and again, use the categories that we told you to pay attention to the testimony and her voice. Oh, shoot. Why? Okay, it was
July 16, 2000.
Fernandez Gonzalez.
Do you know how to spell the first name?
Z-E-N.
Where was Zenaida's? Where did you drop your child off?
The Sawgrass Apartments on Conway in Michigan.
Do you remember the address?
I don't remember the address.
Do you remember an apartment number?
210.
Okay.
It's on the second floor.
If you were to pull into the Sawgrass Apartments, would the building be the one closest to the road, furthest back, halfway?
As soon as you go straight, you go over one speed bump, and it's the first one on the right-hand side.
Okay, is there a pool next to it, or is there anything about the apartment that stands out?
There's a welcome sign. It's, I guess there's a little shed close to the building, maybe about 10 yards away.
Okay. How long had you known Zenaida?
Almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years Christmas this year.
And where did you meet her? Who did you meet her through?
A mutual friend. His name is Jeffrey Michael Hopkins. I met him at Nickelodeon at Universal, and I met her through him. She was his son's nanny at the time.
Does Jeffrey still work at Universal?
No, he does not.
How long has it been since he left?
About 9-10 months, give or take.
Did he move back to Jacksonville?
He moved up to North Carolina for a short time and moved down to Jacksonville within the last 3 months.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
About a week and a half ago.
Okay. Do you know a telephone number for him?
I can find a number for him. I don't know a number offhand. No, I do not.
You mentioned something before we went on tape about your cell phones.
Yes. I have 2 phones. I just received a new phone through work, through Universal. The phone won't keep charged, so I use my old phone that I actually had gotten, again, through Universal for work.
Okay.
listen to the explanation on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know it says, why you're so obsessed, guys, with the phone explanation. The complexity of the lie, to me, I know sounds ridiculous. Apparently, she was acquitted. At this point, the complexity of the lie and the explanation get me perplexed. Why? And like, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. So please pay attention here, the explanation of the 2 phones. Remember, she wasn't working on Universal Orlando. She was fired for a part-time work 2 years ago. So listen to the complexity of this lie about the phone story. Oh my God, Elva, what are you doing?
I'm not controlling it.
I know, but I need to blame someone. That's what people does.
Numbers from the phone to the SIM card and switch them back and forth.
But they're not on your SIM card?
They're not saved on the SIM card. They're saved on the phone. I've been trying to figure out on that new phone how to save numbers from the phone to the SIM card and switch them back and forth. So that way I have everything all in one piece.
Okay, so the phone where you had the number saved was lost.
Yes, I filed an incident report.
But how did you end up keeping the SIM card?
I had taken it out. I know I left the phone on my desk at work after I'd switched the SIM card back to my old phone because this was the phone that actually would keep charge. Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to have a working phone instead of having a phone that would only stay charged for about a half hour and then it would die and I can't make any more calls. It's, for me, not practical.
So after you switched the SIM card is when the phone went?
I know I left it on my desk. And I hadn't been at work for at least 3 or 4 days.
And you said you made a report to Universal?
Yes, with security.
When
9 days ago.
9 days ago?
Yes,
Okay. So you met Zenaida through Jeffrey Hopkins
I did.
and his son Zach Hopkins, I guess. Zenaida used to watch over Zach?
Yes,
And you say you've known Zenaida for about 4 years?
almost 4 years.
You
Yes.
knew her before you had your child?
Well, I met her just before I was actually pregnant at the time. So,
And when did she start watching over your child?
it's been within the last year and a half, 2 years that she started watching Kaylee. I had another friend watch Kaylee that I've known since middle school. When she went back to school, I was looking for a new nanny. Jeff offered to have Zenaida watch both kids. She agreed, and it kind of went from there.
Before Zenaida started watching over your child, who was the nanny?
Her name was Lauren.
Did you find any inconsistencies?
Even though, you know what, talking about the phone, it's true. When she said like she doesn't know how to save the numbers, it happens to me too.
But she says, oh, I did the report 9. I studied a long time ago with somebody who studied with Amino and who's the one who coached us. Coming from the Israel, is not the guy who developed statement analysis. As the guy who studied with the one who developed statement analysis. That's the one I studied that you didn't. You didn't waste your time to study with him. And says, people who use the number 3 line, I do not agree on that. When you want to tend to simplify things, you use the number 3. But I do not believe the liars use the number 3. We have trilogy. For visual people, we tend to put things in 1, 3, or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So dependent the distance between your eyes, if you put in 2, 3, or 5. Okay. 2 sometimes is good enough, the balance. But if you're super, super visual, it's going to be 3 or 5.
Mm-hmm. You need more.
I'm super visual and put 3 or 5. And when it says like, well, the 3 peaks, the 3 stooges, we tend to do thing in 3. She never used the number 3 in anything. Yeah, people says, oh, the multiplier 3. I do not. Yeah. And I don't care. This person have more name. I will not gonna name it. I don't want any lawsuit. I study with this person. And when I ask, what is your theory about the number 3? He says, well, read my book. I already did. You signed it. I don't understand what the number 3. So years later, I study with other people and I study with the people who got the una bomba. They look at me like, oh, you study with X and Y. Like, that is BS. We don't agree with the theory number 3 either.
No.
I haven't found it in any of the things that I have go through.
Me neither.
Number 3?
She never mentioned number 3.
And I haven't found it either. I use number 3 all the time. And sometimes even when I need to talk to someone who is in my field, I'm careful to use the number 3 because I do know they're wrongly trained. And as soon as number 3, like, oh, Susan, really? Like, no, it's happened at 3 p.m. Well, Susan, you know, like, I don't believe that guy. Check my computer. It's happened at 3 p.m.
No, she used like 9 to 11, around 7. She
31.
Never...
She didn't say 3 weeks. She said 31 days.
Yes.
So until now, the only inconsistency on the testimony is the tone of the voice. There's no break. There is no anger. There is no change in the language, no change in the tone. The only inconsistency is the tone of the language, but the language per se is nothing red flag. Yeah, you can go letter by letter, and I'm sure a lot of people is going to pick that like it's a puzzle and talk and see things or not. Let's be honest. We do know she was acquitted, but socially convicted.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody believes she did it. So now it's easy to point fingers, but we're talking from the previous to go to trial. She is lack of emotions, but not lack of consistency on the way she kept presenting the facts.
That's my point.
Even though she recognized years later, everything, absolutely everything was a lie. There's no inconsistency on the story. Elva?
No, and that's my point, you know, because everything that she said has a meaning and has a well-structured thing. Now, that's why I told you, pay attention to the emotions, because she's not even once like being like hysteric or changing the mood, nothing. She's the same.
That's the reason the new class web works, emotions and behavior, because you cannot use one channel. Please, people, stop using body language like it's the Bible. It is not. People can be coached. People can deceive you. Okay, how many times we need to tell you that's what we do for living? People teaching people how to deceive things. Get between line. That's what we do. Hello.
Yes.
God, Lord, I'm so tired. So people who are good marketing, but no idea what they're talking about.
And you know what? That's why I like what we do, because we start with face reading. It's like, it's nothing like you see the face, that's what you read. And then you go to the statement analysis.
Yep. Actually, I got statement content analysis. I like more that term. That is the original than statement analysis. Let's go. We haven't gone to even a quarter of the statement that she gave verbally. That's the reason. Always get data, always get back up. Elba, stop doing this. I adore you. Happy birthday, my love. You make my life so full.
So since the end of 2006, beginning of 07, he started taking Kaylee to Zanida's house on Sawgrass.
In Robinson, close to downtown. She lived there for quite a few months and moved over to Sawgrass just recently this year.
The house on Bumby, do you remember the address or remember where it's at?
I know it's off of Glenwood. I don't remember the apartment number offhand. No, I do not.
And how long would you say you dropped the child off there, from the beginning of, end of 06, beginning of 07 to?
Maybe about 6-7 months, so maybe the middle of 2007.
So she
even take a normal pause to think.
She's been at that apartment in Sawgrass for about the last 3 or 4 months. She lived with her mom for a little bit.
Where does her mom live?
She lived off of Michigan.
Do you know where the house is?
It's not a very well-marked neighborhood. It crosses just over Conway. It's one of the big stretches of neighborhoods.
Had you dropped the child off there before?
Yes.
If you had to find the place, would you be able to find it?
Most likely, yes. I think I'd remember the house.
Okay, so she was living off of Glenwood, then moved into her mom's house somewhere off of Michigan, and then moved into Sawgrass. So Sawgrass 3 or 4 months ago, off of Glenwood until mid-07, then mom's house.
Her mom wasn't living there at the time. Her mom had gotten another place with her sister, but she was staying over at the house and moved in with the 2 girls that are referenced in the pages.
She was living with these 2 girls at Sawgrass?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not doubt. It's not pause.
No,
it's not nothing.
Nothing.
People remember, this is a lie from the beginning until the end. When you have a person, and we don't know, we haven't talked to a psychologist who have talked to her, because it's easy to say, oh, borderline BS, but no, people need to be evaluated and diagnosed properly. So please, people outside, stop diagnosing people without having the knowledge, besides reading a freaking book about diagnosing people. That is irresponsible and unprofessional. Please. The only thing we can by sure know is the way, the pace, the cadence. We need to remember, this is a lie. It's not one point in this story that is true. No. Please go back. You don't like us? It's okay. You don't trust us? Great. Be our guest. Just go back and listen. How the consistency, how someone who obviously something going on in the terrace and it's not enough water on the tank, call it whatever you want, can deceive you. So
You know,
that's how
it's-
people can manipulate you, how people can use you, how you have pyramid scheme, how people who has sent money to people they love. Why? The parents believe her. The police believe it on the beginning. They believe her. Again, from the profiler standpoint, I do not know what happened after. I don't find the body until, what it was like 6 months later. It was in July 16, body was found in December 11, 6 months before. Again, everybody knows an expert because they know the result. Let's talk about before, when we're talking about the timeline. That's where we're talking today. And I know we don't have anything to add, but it's like, I don't know if people understand that nothing is true. And there's a statement. It's,
you know what? It's
fascinating.
It's another thing for me. Like, she has an answer for everything. And she knows when she said, like, no, I don't remember.
The way she paused, you're right. Oh my God, you're 100% right, love.
Mm-hmm.
She does like, actually, we sometimes, we have this exercise like, yeah, remember, like, oh my God, we sound more fake than she did on the statement. The only thing given away is the tone of lack of emotions. So please pay attention, because we fulfill our own fantasies. Now it's easy to point fingers, but let's think about what happened at that point. This woman is a master manipulator. Yeah. And she can influence and manipulate everybody the way she wants. In this case, she chooses to do for bad. Please keep listening. And my apologies for interrupt, love, but I still crawl my hair back down.
No, but you know what? It's better when we pause the video, because we
to make people remember.
Yes. Yes.
Because I think, even though I was like falling on the testimony, like, wait a minute, she's lying. We know now that she's lying. But at this point, I fall on like the tone of the voice is the only thing I don't like. Anyway, anything else, love? I know I keep interrupting, but
let's go.
People, this is a master class of an interrogation and cuckoo people.
You know?
Elba, what you have done?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's your fault. Need to be your fault. It's your birthday this week.
And walk me through. You dropped her off to go to work? Mm-hmm. Okay. Get off of work and go for it.
I got off of work, left Universal, driving back to pick up Kaylee like a normal day. And I show up to the apartment, knock on the door, nobody answers. So I call Zenaida cell phone, and it's out of service. It says that the phone is no longer in service. Excuse me. So I sit down on the steps and wait for a little bit to see if maybe it was just a fluke, if something happened. And time passed. I didn't hear from anyone. No one showed up to the house. So I went over to J. Blanchard Park and checked a couple other places where maybe possibly they would have gone. A couple stores, just regular places that I know Zenaida shops at, and she's taken Kaylee before. And after about 7 o'clock, when I still hadn't heard anything, I was getting pretty upset, pretty frantic, and I went to a neutral place. I didn't really want to come home. I wasn't sure what I'd say about not knowing where Kaylee was. Still hoping that I would get a call or, find out that Kaylee was coming back so that I could go get her. And I ended up going to my boyfriend Anthony's house, who lives in Sutton Place.
Did you talk to Anthony?
Did you realize the proper introduction of everyone on the testimony? My boyfriend's Anthony's, my daughter's nanny, Zenaida. She does a proper introduction of everyone. The people who's real and the one who's unreal in this story have the same introduction. Actually, the fake ones have a better introduction than the other ones.
Yes, and that's another thing here. When you are introducing someone, like she's doing it, it's like you put their name or the title so they could go together, so you know who you are talking about.
Okay, let's explain that again. People has criticized us that we talk like we only understand what we say, and people get like,
okay, when you are introducing, when you
introduce me to give the example. Okay. How you don't say bitch. Remember, we used that example last week and didn't work.
Okay, let me introduce you to Susan Ibitz, the human behavior hacker. You see? Now,
but I'm nothing to you because it's no
yes,
correlation between you
yeah,
and I.
that's my point.
So I can
My
be your
point.
cousin, I can be the
Yes.
dead aunt.
Now,
Nothing.
what happened here? Let me introduce you to Susan Ibitz, my friend, and the human behavior hacker. You see? It's how you present it. And now, when you introduce a person and just hear about what she's saying, when she introduced the nanny or the boyfriend, she put the title first, meaning that this is the first thing to importance to her, and then the name.
My boyfriend, Anthony. But what I'm saying is, it's the proper introduction. And we always talk about the order, the introduction. They're so simple for people to learn. You don't need to do a class. You don't need to pay any of us to understand. Order, introduction, and change of language. If you can catch that, it's done. She doesn't have any change of language. That's for freaking me the most. But the proper introduction on the real and fictitious people in this testimony. Same. And again, don't touch my control. I want to get the video right. What?
Let's do one thing.
What?
The video. What happened?
Start sweating.
What happened if both come? We are going to a dinner with my family, and I said, "Hi, she is Susan. She's coming with me."
Are you gay now? That is your partner? Is your boss? With friend? With and nothing wrong with gay people?
No, but who is Susan?
Yeah,
I don't know her. It's like that's not a good prop introduction. But she here,
not at all.
She puts the title and she puts the name. That's the way that you make the introductions.
Yep, you do. Don't touch my video. I want to do it right.
No,
if I do it wrong, it's Elva's fault.
About what happened, Kaylee?
No, I did not.
And have you ever seen Kaylee before?
Yes, you have.
Have you talked to anyone about Kaylee, about your incident with Kaylee? Or the fact that she's missing?
A couple people, a couple mutual friends.
Who did you talk to about it?
I talked to Jeffrey Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
I also attempted to contact Zenaida's mother and never received a call back from her.
Do you know Zenaida's mother's name?
Wow, man. I think it's Gloria.
Do you know a telephone number for Zenaida's mom?
I do not know.
Do you have any of these numbers programmed into your SIM card that you kept into your other phone?
No, I do not.
How long did you have this old phone?
I've had the Nokia for almost a full year.
Okay. So after a full year of dealing with Zenaida and having her babysit, and you don't remember...
Switching numbers back and forth. Zenaida's number has changed a couple different times. She switched services between having Sprint and having AT&T or Singular.
What about Jeffrey? You've known him for at least 4 years.
His number's changed a couple different times from when he moved from Orlando up to North Carolina and back down to Jacksonville.
Okay, I'm going to put a stop on this craziness. It's scary.
And you know what? How everything is detailed described here. Like she's not given the gap to tell someone to ask her again the same thing to see if she's lying or something.
Nope.
She's covering everything.
Yep. It's one of the most freaky testimonies I have heard in a long time. And again, at this point, she was under arrest. She was Mirandaized, nothing. But you can find this testimony, go to Court TV. I'm going to see if we have enough time to put the link below. This is the testimony happened. That is the person who was acquitted, but on the heart of all the American. She is considered to be the most hated mom on the world, more than Susan Smith, more than anyone. I think because Susan Smith was too far away. But this is one of the women who are more hated. go back. Again, I will not gonna get tired to say it, guys. The consistency, the no gap, the details, the introduction, the orders is freaky. I can see how losing weight. You see this?
Yes.
I can see losing weight. Good. So it's crazy. Pay attention, practice with your people. We have a last unit. If you're still here with us, is the face reading. Again, it's painful to hear. We have like 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Already the show is like a 2-hour show. Go back, listen to that. Again, we can chop it. It's going to be too dense. The idea in this show is to give you the tools to go to your own tools of learning. Go for it. I'm responsible for the things I says about the people that I study, and I don't believe what they do, and the things that I believe that I study. You can say, well, they have a better name than you have. Some people have a better marketing. They doesn't mean they know more. Actually, we work more on the back of the end. Ready to do the face reading and wrap it up?
Yes, let's go to the face reading.
Yes, sir. It's your birthday week. Take advantage. Mine is in.
I'm in charge. Sit.
Oh my God, 3 weeks is mine. Okay, Casey Anthony face reading. And we have 2 pictures. I have shown these pictures before. I'm going to take something. The white on the eyes haven't changed.
Nope.
What happened when you see white sclera? White sclera is the white part of the eye. You have the iris and you have the sclera is the white part of the eye. I'm going to give you, again, take advantage. Friday, 5 p.m., your gift card week is in. Your weekend week is done. So take advantage.
When you see the white sclera, it's because it's a person that is disconnected from reality.
I'm going to remember something. She was acquitted of murder, but she was sentenced for lying to the police.
Yes, yes.
Until she did the documentary. Let's see what happened now. I can't wait. Some people says, what if Jose Baez now represented that against? That would be a shithole. That would be a shithole. He's a criminal attorney, so I don't think so, but that will be a shithole.
Yes.
We're trying to get one of our attorneys, lovely attorneys that we work with, that work on defamation. And that is another term for defamation. Again, COVID brain, but to see if that is possible. So, eyebrows has changed, kind of. White part of the eyes. What else you see? What else you see between the 2 pictures?
I see the mouth, the upper lip, between 2008 and 2020. It's not the biggest part, but
the Cupid bow is getting. I don't know if it's filler, but the Cupid bow get thinner, but the upper lip thicker. What do you mean?
Because she started talking about her feelings, even though she's still talking about the outside world, but in 2022 she started talking about more how she feels inside.
Honey, do you know what? I think that 2022 lips are equal thick. And again, we don't need to agree. That's the reason I love working with you.
I don't know. It's if it's the Cupid bow, but for me, I look at it's more thicker in the 2022.
No. I agree. And in 2022, the 2 lips are equal thickness.
I get it.
In 28, the upper was thinner.
Yeah,
I would say it's 3/4 of what is the lower. So we're talking about the upper lip. This is a Cupid bow, the shape of the heart. Now, the lower part of the ear. So the lower part of the mouth was thicker, and the upper was 1/4 smaller. Now, 14 years later, both are the same shape and thickness, and the mouth is smaller.
Smaller. That's that. Yes, the mouth in between 2, it's smaller. So she stopped talking. Like, I just talk when I need it.
Okay, what happened with the secret lines? Where they went?
None.
Why?
You see, and out. You know what? That's a good example because we always talk about how people tend to have more secret lines during the years. But in
No,
this
at the age of 22, she had more secret lines when this happened, and the secret line disappeared. And actually, she's more burned out. Even with makeup, you can see the back under the eyes. She's burned out. The eye is more puffy. On the business side, is more burned out, deeper. And her personal life is nothing happened. It's flat. There are no mark. There no actually, look on the line here. Look on the, she doesn't have any wrinkles. Again, she's 34. She can be my daughter. God forgiven. She is 34. I'm 51. I have, at that age, I have way more wrinkles than she have on the personal side. Nothing. The personal side eye is open, disconnected from reality. What the heck?
Yeah.
And again, we don't modify the lines. No. Actually, she had the culito here. But
and she had it before.
Yeah.
And she had it before. But you know what? There's another thing for me.
The eyelids?
No. Well, yeah, that's one thing. But the other thing, because I don't know, I like.
What is the other one?
You can see the chin.
It's rounded.
She rounded. She learned how to talk.
She learned how to manipulate better.
Yes. Yes. Putting it that way, yes. Say it out there, yes. She learned how to manipulate through the story. Why? Because the story sells.
People says, oh, I love that person have a round chin. Like, time out. Let me see the rest of the face. No, but I trust because like, let me see the rest of the face. Because nothing is independent on the face. If we have a round chin with thicker upper lip and thicker lower lip and thin nose, and we have a small round chin, and we have a pointy eyebrows, thin pointy nose, again, thin pointy turn down and turn down eyes, run, please.
As fast as you can. Yes.
As fast as you can. Yeah. You have a con artist. And guess what? She have a thin, long nose.
Yes, she have a thin, long nose.
Now, there is something that is not coherent with me. Can you see the size of the nostrils?
Yes, for me too. They're different.
This woman wasn't neglected of love when she was raising.
No. Nope.
She was neglected from money, but she wasn't neglected from love.
Not for love. Nope.
In the 2008, you cannot see so much because they were pretty similar. But in 2022, you can see the left side of the picture. The nostril on that side, it's smaller. And actually, is the same nose. She didn't have any accident. We check on that. And the right part of the nostrils on the picture is bigger, meaning that she have more. It's not a difference between the nostrils.
No,
she have a worse time between 2008 and 2022 than she had before.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have any signs of the thing that she says that she did.
Nope.
No grieving lines, nothing.
No, nothing. No, nothing. Would you, okay, let's.
What are the compassion lines? I don't know one.
Okay, I'm going there. Where is the compassion lines? Because when you have suffering, when you have things to pass, you became like a fighter. You start feeling like compassion for others when you see the same situation, right? But here with her,
no grieving, neither compassion. We have 3 lines to identify when you have been going through pain. Okay, let's put it this way.
Even though the warrior lines, the
warrior. She doesn't have warrior cheeks. She doesn't have compassion lines. She doesn't have grieving lines. She doesn't have nothing. So let's put it clear. I lost my dog, my dad, and my mom in a line of 3 years. You see, I'm not fucking lying. That's what happened. And 3 years, like, chop, losing everything that is care on my life. In person, you can see those lines. Actually, in person, you can see I don't have a lot of wrinkles, but the only one I have is here, deep. It's like embedded in my skin. No matter what I do, is going from here, here. I have so much loss in the last 3 years of my life. And the rest of the face, no. Thank God, knocking wood for 51. But this woman went through losing a kid.
Now, we are talking about the lines that she's lack of incoherence with the lack of emotions. So yeah, that's why we love face reading, because we know we can know a lot of things through the face.
If we were the opposite counts, I would love to be in this case in any size.
Oh, me too. Oh yes.
We have and better. Actually, we have a case. I'm sorry.
No. Just keep going.
Sorry. I get excited. So, you see the pitch of my voice went high because I almost put my foot on my face. Don't let me talk. When I'm tired, I cannot talk. Like asleep, and I look like. Ugh. So, people hate this show. But even though want to talk to you to see how they can hate you less when they can contact you.
You can go to elvahumanbehaviorlab.com. And for you, Susan, if people want to know more and let you talk, where they can go?
Susan at humanbehaviorlab.com. And please send your love, share your love to celebrate Elva's birthday. You haven't been turning the 4 number, bitch.
No. Not yet.
One more year, and you're gonna be near me. The worst part is no matter how much, you're never gonna be in the same century. At least I want a 4 in front of you because you depress me. You cannot be 12 years younger than I am.
Yeah. But I'm 39, so just keep it in that. I'm 39.
I've been working a lot with Italy, so lately I've been talking a lot of Italian, like, yeah, ma fangulo, ma capito. Che cosa diamo? Anyway, she turned 39 this week. So Elva, happy birthday to you. We love you on the team. We cannot wait to have you back. We hope it made that happen. We're gonna have a huge pizza cake for you.
See, big one.
Big
and the ribs.
Pizza cake with Warner ribs and a lovely bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon to celebrate. Love, the best for you. I'm so lucky you are in our team. You have been a bless for many, many years with us. Thank you very much. So please send the love to Elva, her birthday. She's going to be celebrating. Have a great day. Guys, this is a 3-part show. The pre-trial, the things that you can use against or in favor. No matter what size you are, I don't care the size you are. Give us the same testimony, give us the same information what we can do, Elva.
Yes, we can do a lot of damage there.
Yeah, and we love doing it. So that's what we're showing you. Next week we're going to talk about the trial, even though I was more guilty than you were, putting my foot in my mouth. And the last one is going to be about the documentary and how actually I wish she hadn't done it as an advisor, as a profiler. Thank God. Let's wait for the next trial because it's going to be one.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will. Love. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.